Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the literal engine of your body, human metabolism. We're taking a journey from the microscopic energy systems in your cells, zooming all the way out to your daily behaviors, and then diving right back down into your gut microbiome. We're drawing on Dr. Layne Norton's incredible deep dive into protein and fat loss, so get ready because we're going to look at some surprising science that might just completely reframe your daily habits. So, let's kick things off with a big question that honestly drives everyone a little crazy. Is weight loss really just calories in, calories out? We hear this all the time, right? And a lot of folks think it's just way too simplistic. Well, here's the deal. The law of thermodynamics absolutely holds true. You literally cannot defy the conservation of energy. But as we'll see, the actual equation of calories in versus calories out, it is incredibly dynamic, highly adaptive, and honestly, super complex. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The complex calorie equation. 2. The power of NEAT. 3. Psychology and diet adherence. And 4. Fiber and gut health. Let's get into it. Section 1. The complex calorie equation. Let's look at the real numbers behind the calories in side of things. If you've ever obsessively tracked your food and felt incredibly frustrated when the scale just didn't move, oh man, you are going to feel so validated right now. Legally, the nutrition labels on the food you buy can have up to a 20% error rate. Let that sink in. That means a snack labeled as 100 calories could actually be 80, or it could be 120 calories. Plus, depending on the fiber content, your body might not even be able to extract all those calories anyway. So the whole calories inside of the equation, yeah, it's a lot fuzzier than we've been led to believe. Okay, now let's flip it and look at the calories outside. Your total daily energy expenditure is essentially made up of 3 buckets. First, you've got your basal metabolic rate, or BMR. This accounts for roughly 60% of the calories you burn. This is literally just the energy required to keep your body alive and functioning while you're resting. Then you have physical activity, making up about 30%. And finally, there's this highly misunderstood bucket called the thermic effect of food, coming in at about 10%. Now, what's really fascinating here is how different macronutrients affect that last bucket. The thermic effect of food is basically the energy required to actually break down and digest your meals. Think of your body kind of like a car, You need a battery spark to ignite the fuel. If you eat 100 calories of fat, your body only uses up to 3% of that to digest it. Carbs require about 5 to 10%. But digesting protein requires a massive 20 to 30% of its own calories just to process. So this is exactly why a calorie is indeed a calorie from an energy standpoint, but the actual source of those calories dictates completely different physiological outcomes in your body. Moving to Section 2, the power of NEAT. Let's uncover a massive, hidden metabolic driver that we rarely even think about. So, what is NEAT? It stands for Non-Exercise Activity Thermogenesis. Essentially, it covers the energy expended for literally everything you do that isn't sleeping, eating, or dedicated sports-like exercise. I'm talking about tapping your foot, waving your hands while you talk, adjusting your posture, or just spontaneously pacing around the room. And here's the wild part. This is a highly adaptable biological trait. When some people overeat, their bodies naturally ramp up this spontaneous fidgeting, burning off excess energy without them even realizing it. It's wild. But you really have to understand the key difference here. Purposeful exercise is conscious. You plan a walk, you go lift weights, right? NEAT, on the other hand, is completely subconscious. People will sometimes say, oh, I'm going to take a walk to get my NEAT up. But if you are consciously planning it, well, it's exercise, not NEAT. The tricky thing is, as you lose weight, your brain will subconsciously reduce your need to conserve energy. Actually, scratch that. It's more than tricky. It's this incredible, deeply ingrained survival mechanism that makes keeping weight off so stubbornly difficult. And hey, while we're on the topic of physical activity, we've got to talk about those fitness trackers. Research shows that wrist-worn fitness trackers can actually overestimate your calorie burn by 28%, all the way up to an astonishing 93%. Seriously, 93. So if your watch tells you that you burned 500 calories and you decide, hey, I'm going to eat a 500-calorie meal as a reward, you might actually be putting yourself straight into a calorie surplus. So the absolute crucial point is this. The true superpower of exercise for weight loss isn't actually the number of calories you burned sweating it out on the treadmill. In reality, Regular exercise fundamentally alters your brain's relationship with food. It makes you way more sensitive to your body's natural satiety signals. You literally get better at knowing when you are full. Yes, exercise universally improves your health biomarkers, but regulating your appetite, that is for sure its absolute secret weapon. All right, section 3, psychology and diet adherence. Because when it comes to human metabolism, we simply cannot separate the mind and the body. Psychology literally is physiology. Take the incredible story of the actor Ethan Suplee. He lost hundreds of pounds and actually kept it off. Now, when he posts a workout picture, he often captions it, "I killed my clone today." Why does he say that? Because keeping weight off long-term requires killing who you used to be. You literally have to build a brand new identity. You cannot create a new version of your body while dragging your old habits, your old coping mechanisms, and your old lifestyle right behind you. It just doesn't work. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates why so many diets fail right out of the gate. Most diets just assume we only eat because of biological hunger. But think about it for a second. When was the last time you went to a social event that didn't entirely revolve around food? We eat because we're stressed out. We eat because we slept poorly. And very often, we eat purely out of boredom. If a diet protocol doesn't address all these deep psychosocial triggers, biology will eventually win, and the weight is going to come right back. When scientists look at massive meta-analyses comparing low-carb, low-fat, and intermittent fasting diets, the results are crystal clear. If protein and calories are equated, they all result in roughly the exact same fat loss. There is absolutely no magic pill here. Therefore, the best protocol is simply the one that feels the least restrictive to your specific lifestyle. Just pick the method you honestly believe you can adhere to forever. And that brings us to section 4, fiber and gut health. Let's zoom way, way down into the microscopic gut microbiome to connect our dietary choices with long-term survival. Listen, if you want a genuine, science-backed longevity hack, this is it right here. In a massive meta-analysis of over 1 million subjects, researchers found that for every 10-gram increase in daily dietary fiber, there is a 10% reduction in your overall risk of mortality. Think about that. That includes massive reductions in cardiovascular disease and cancer risks. Fiber is, without a doubt, the ultimate game changer for your health span. But, a lot of people just rely on taking a probiotic pill and call it a day. Think of it this way, though. Taking a probiotic is kind of like parachuting new bacteria into an unfueled, empty environment. They just aren't going to survive. But eating diverse fiber acts as a prebiotic. Fiber is the actual fuel that feeds the healthy bacteria already sitting there in your gut. So science heavily favors eating diverse sources of fiber over simply taking isolated probiotic supplements. So what does this all mean for you? What's the ultimate toolkit based on the best science we have right now? Well, it's remarkably straightforward. First, manage your overall caloric intake so you just aren't over-consuming. Second, exercise regularly to keep your metabolic and appetite systems healthy. And third, aim for roughly 15 grams of diverse dietary fiber for every 1,000 calories you consume. These are absolutely the biggest levers you can pull for your holistic health. We've covered the cellular math, those sneaky subconscious movements, the incredibly powerful psychology of identity, and the microscopic world of the gut. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. When you sit down for your next meal, ask yourself, are you fueling your future or are you just feeding your old habits? Knowledge is power, but application is everything. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really can't wait to see how you put this science into action.